Hi, my name is John. I can't give you my last name, but the explanation for that is below this video in the description. It's somewhere among those paragraphs below there. The important point is this. I'm dealing in this series of videos with two of the most vital issues of our time. The mainstream media is not dealing with it at all, so I figured I would take the initiative and do my best to get as much of the information out there to you, the public, as possible. And that's my picture there. I will not be appearing on this video talk. I'll just be talking in the background. I do appear on most of the videos starting in part 4 and onward from there. Now the two vital issues, I think two of the most important issues in the world right now, is the situation with airplanes, not just airplanes, but aircraft, so airplanes, helicopters, and even some surface vehicles, their vulnerability to hacking, and the fact that they are, according to all the evidence I've uncovered, they are being hacked occasionally. At least, I'm going to say at least a few aircraft a year. Some of those are small, some are, commercial jets. At least a few of those a year since at least 2018. And also at least a number of major surface vehicle crashes, mostly cars and trucks, but it could be trains as well. A number of those every year, probably more than a few. I mean, could even be a dozen or more. Now, again, the fact that these things can happen is there's lots of evidence of that. I've uncovered that in these videos. Look, I gotta tell you, I'm not a documentary maker. Okay, I've never done anything like this before. Okay, so the information, so I'm trying to be as, and I don't have editing software, okay? And I tried some before, it didn't work out. I couldn't get all the features to work properly, and so it was a mess. I'm not an IT expert, okay? So I'm just doing the best I can to get as much of this information out to you as possible. Now, so that's issue number one, is the vehicles, okay? The vulnerability to hacking, and the fact that at least some of them are being hacked every year, okay, since at least 2018, okay? So that's aircraft and surface vehicles, all right? So that's issue number one, okay? And among, within that issue is the fact that the strong suspicion that my brother, my one and only brother, who is an IT expert, an information technology professional, the IT pro bro, I believe that he is involved in these. Now, there might be a few, people around the world with these expertise and the lack of morals, necessary to do something like that. There may be a few people like that around the world, but I don't know. I don't have the time or the information, to search for I don't have the information on those people. I don't have the time to search for it. I'm dealing with this because I know him, and I've uncovered a lot of circumstantial, a lot of so-called coincidences surrounding a lot of suspicious crashes of the last couple of years. When you put it all together, I think it constitutes strong circumstantial evidence. Okay, I'm going to be showing you some screenshots and paper documents in this video, in the next one, and the next one, right? So that's why I'm not appearing on the video here, because I'm going to be busy doing the camcorder thing on the other stuff. But the second issue, the second vital issue, facing the world, is also the hacking of cell towers, okay? Cell towers are vulnerable to hacking also, okay? I'm not saying they're all being hacked, okay, but I am saying that some of them are being hacked. I'm going to say at least probably 1 or 2% in the world are being hacked, and that includes right here in North America, okay? Now, that is an even more personal issue to me than the airplane one, because once I started suspecting this, a couple of years ago that airplanes were being hacked and crashed, and when I looked at some of the so-called coincidences surrounding some of the crashes, that made me suspect that when I heard the stories on the news, then I went and researched them, and then there were things that made me suspect them, like based on the dates that they happened, or the flight number, or the model of the plane, or the time that they happened, and some other significant numbers surrounding them, right? Or names as well, like for example the Max name, right? And that also came up as a coincidence, so-called coincidence, that I didn't believe was a coincidence, because I bought a Max remote control toy hobby grade vehicle in 2018, and then several months later the first Max jet crash, right? But so I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that in this video. But also, like, as far as getting back to the cell tower topic, I'm not going to get to it very much in these next couple of videos, but I will later on in this series of videos. But again, it's very personal to me, because I'm among the 4% of the population who is extra sensitive to that type of energy, to electromagnetic energy, RF radiation, radio frequencies, radio fields. It all means the same thing. It's a type of radiation, okay? And 4% of the population are extra sensitive to that type of radiation. But even among this 4%, among which I am one of these 4%, even among us, most of us are not sensitive to it to the point where it's going to bother us if their cell tower is functioning properly. Okay, so most of us are not going to be bothered by it if it's functioning properly. However, if it malfunctions, or if it's hacked and made to malfunction, in other words, by having its frequencies elevated beyond the safety range of 300 gigahertz, which was set up by the FCC or the CRTC or Industry Canada in Canada. So basically, in the States, it's the FCC. In Canada, it's the CRTC and Industry Canada that sets these regulations, right? So 300 gigahertz is where they set it. Now, every couple of years, these agencies may adjust that, but they never adjust it beyond 300 gigahertz. Okay, so what I'm saying is that when these towers are being hacked, their frequency is probably being elevated high above the 300 gigahertz safety range, and or the power that they transmit is being increased by increasing the amount of power going into the tower. Okay, and that can be done by hacking the electrical grid, and it is also very possible to hack the electrical grid. There's lots of evidence in these videos. There's gonna be dozens and dozens and dozens of these videos. Okay, I'm gonna be putting out at least one every week. Okay, but getting back to what I just said about the electrical grid. Okay, so among some of these future videos, that I'm going to be putting out, I'm going to be showing documents, screenshots of documents that show that the electrical grid can be hacked, and then I'm also going to show you some circumstantial evidence that strongly suggests that my brother already has hacked the electrical grid, at least at the end of September 2022. Okay, I'm going to show you evidence for that too in some of the future videos. Okay, so but with these, I want to deal with this one here. I want to deal. I'm going to start dealing with the aircraft disasters. I'm going to start dealing with the 2018 Max crash, and then the 2019 Max crash, and so forth. Now, before I do that, I just wanted to mention that that's my picture there, and it's this is from 2020. Okay, from 2020, and now it's 2023 when I'm making this video. So when you see starting from video part number 4, in other words, from part 4 of this series, you're going to see that in part 4, when you see me on video in 2023, that I look more than 3 years older. Okay, because remember, like I just said, this picture was taken in 2020. All right, when you see me on video starting from part 4 onward, you're going to see that I aged more than 3 years in the last 3 years because of all the stress I've been under. Because oh yeah, before I get to the Max, I also want to say another thing about the cell tower thing. The thing is, they're very dangerous. Okay, when these frequencies are jacked up, or the power output is jacked up, it can cause physical symptoms to us 4%. Or we're not just extra sensitive to, but we get physical symptoms, right? Like severe headaches, for example, and even nosebleeds, ear bleeds. I have some video of this personally of my own, in which I'll put up in future videos in this series, and then also other things like disorientation, memory problems, imbalance. These are all symptoms. These have also been called Havana syndrome symptoms, okay? And the Havana syndrome, where in between 2016 and 2018, a lot of U.S. and Canadian embassy diplomats in the Cuban embassies, well, in the U.S. and Canadian embassies in Cuba, they suffered these types of symptoms, right? And it was determined that it was, probably some type of energy weapon that was used to attack them, but they never determined which one. Well, there's lots of proof that radio waves can cause these same problems. I know personally, I know from the research and personally from what I've experienced as a victim of this last couple of years, since the towers have been starting to be hacked, at least in my area and places I've traveled to in the last couple of years. It started first on December 31st, 2020, and basically it's continued on a regular basis since then. This year, 2023, it's just gotten worse. It's almost every day. And so the thing is, these things can even cause brain damage. They've done MRI tests on people who have experienced these symptoms before, including those people from the embassies, and some of them actually suffered brain damage, because what happens is it causes brain swelling, right? The headaches are caused by the brain swelling. Now, brain swelling can be very dangerous. It can even kill you. Any type of radiation can cause brain swelling. If it's strong enough, long enough, it can kill you by causing a stroke. In other words, the brain swelling can lead to a burst artery or a bleeding stroke in the brain, okay? So that can happen, all right? So this is very dangerous, and it can happen to anyone. We're the canaries in the coal mine, us 4%. We'd be the first to go, right? If these frequencies are jacked up high enough, or the power output is jacked up high enough from the cell towers, right? But the thing is, it can happen. Anyone, the whole city could be murdered in one, within a few seconds if the power was jacked up high enough, or the frequencies were jacked up high enough on these towers, right? Meanwhile, the authorities are covering it up, okay? I have lots of evidence that I've been communicating this to authorities through letters, through emails, through phone calls, even talking in person to the RCMP, that's the Federal Police in Canada. And basically, they've mostly been ignoring me, or they were acting kind of weird for a while. They wanted to get me into a police station, but they didn't say why, right? So anyway, I cover all of that. I cover all kinds of stuff, including more background into my brother, to show you that he is indeed immoral. In some other contexts, I can prove that he's immoral, right? So when you put that together with his IT skills and the suspicious nature of these accidents, because he's a numerology enthusiast, so when there's a lot of these certain numbers surrounding these crashes, right? Like I said before, the dates they happen, or plane or flight number, any of these, they basically have, any of the suspicious ones have at least 2, 3, or even 4 so-called coincidences surrounding them, most of those involving numbers that I know are significant to him, right? So I think he does it to give me signs that he's behind the crashes. Either he does it either consciously or subconsciously, right? Because he's a numerology enthusiast, okay? So just remembering what I just said about him being a numerology enthusiast and about the numbers, I'm going to show you something now. These are 4 numbers from my ex-girlfriend's phone number, which is still in my cell phone from several years ago. This is these are texts from 2017. Look at her number, okay? These digits within her number are what you got. What I got there is a 10 and 29. Okay, if you can see that, it's a 1029. All right. So the rest of her number is blocked out, obviously, because I don't want everyone to know her number, to call her, or anyone to prank call her, right? And YouTube probably wouldn't let that on anyway, right? Because So that was her number, and the screen just went out on that phone, and I can't get it back on without plugging it in because it has no battery. It's an old phone. But anyway, okay. So enough about that. Now just remember 1029. That was like basically the middle of her phone number, right? I didn't show you the other digits, but that was the middle of her phone number. 4 digits in a row. 1029. That come up on one of the Max jet accidents from later on that year, okay? That's a Max jet there, a picture of the Max jet, okay? And it's going to come up again more later. I'm just pointing down so I can concentrate better to look for the other screenshot while I'm pointing the camcorder at my computer here while I'm looking for the next screenshot. And I'm going to get to that in a moment as soon as I find it. It makes it easier to concentrate like this. Okay, so here it is. So remember, 1029, okay? Well, two Max jet crashes, okay? The 2 Max jet crashes, 2 crashes. The first one was on October 29. That's 1029, okay? In 2018, all right? 2018, okay? and those texts were from 2017, as I showed you. So they were from 2017. So basically, I believe my brother hacked my phone at least since then, and then he knew her phone number because her phone number, as you can see, was in my phone, my old phone. It was the current phone at the time, right? Anyway, this will continue in the next video.